Hey there, Cold Warrior 78 here again. I found something that, you know, I don't normally do gear reviews, but I found something that I thought was kind of interesting. I wanted to show you guys and talk about it a little bit, how it could be useful. So let me stand back here and pan the camera down. Can you see? There we go, right there. Alright, this is called the Heritage Campfire Kit. It's by UST. And when I first saw it, I thought, that's a little trendy piece of crap, don't need that. But it was in Tractor Supply or Home Depot or one of those kind of places at Christmas time, in one of those places where they have all the stuff the store doesn't normally carry, but they have it for Christmas anyway. But I picked it up on a whim because it was after Christmas and it was on sale. But the more I looked at it, I thought, well, that's actually kind of cool. So it comes in a burlap bag. Now, back in my day, burlap bags were everywhere. Potatoes, beans, didn't matter what you bought, they were all in burlap bags. Nowadays, you got a special order of burlap bag, so to me that's kind of trendy. Not sure how functional it is, but in our applications, this makes a great filter, a pre-filter for taking crap out of the water. Let me tell you, that you can do a lot of cool things with burlap, and most people don't have burlap available anymore. So I just thought that was kind of cool by itself. I'm not going to leave it in the burlap. Let me just take all this out of here. Burlap is cotton, by the way, so you can make charcloth out of that too. Okay, so starts with this cutesy little fire steel. All right, it's thin, maybe a 1/4 inch, so you're not going to get a lot of use out of it, but it does work. It's got its own little striker with it. Of course, it's painted, so you got to take that a little while. And hey, it's got a bottle cap opener right here, so you could have you know, make your survival fire and have an adult beverage or something. But anyway, so it's got a fire striker. That's a good thing. It has this little tin. Everybody's tins are real big nowadays. They're not watertight, so I don't know what the big deal is, but everybody likes to have stuff in tins. And it's got 12 of these little fibrous fire starters. Now, I have used these before in other applications. Basically, you pick at it, you fuzz up this end of it, throw a spark in it, it starts, so it's your tinder, basically. 12 of them in here. It's a cotton product, so it's all natural apparently. Whether you keep it in the tin or not, I don't care. I don't know that I'm going to. But hey, yeah, never know when that might be candy. Now these things are pretty cool. My buddy used some of these in the winter to start a fire, and they're, as you can see, kind of a shredded up. Get a little bit closer here. They're shredded up pine is all I can think of. There's a resin in there. He lit his with a lighter. This is too heavy to start with a ferro rod, but if you use a little these little white tinders, like they're, you know, that's what they're for, is to catch the spark, and then light one of these with that. This will burn hot, and it'll burn. It's almost kind of like fat wood, although I think it's probably got not beeswax, but like a paraffin wax or something in there to help it burn. But anyway, you know, tea candle, any of those kind of things, you could actually break those in half and use them, you know, half, because as long as you've got your fire lay ready, and you only need a little bit of that, so you could cut those in half and use it. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of them in here, and you could easily make that into 18. So that's pretty good handy little things, worth $1 or $2. So I don't have to go make something. And then these little learn and live cards. Now, when I first saw this, I thought, man, really, how stupid do you have to be to have cards on how to make a fire? But then I stopped to think about all the kids, all the young men that my son hangs around with, they don't know how to do any of this stuff. I try really hard to take new people out to the woods and show them, you know, camping skills and survival skills and fires and stuff like that. But it really, even where I live in the country, it's not, I just don't find that many people that are interested. So for the very beginner, I mean, if you have never made a fire before, this is your step-by-step guide on how to start a fire. And it really, it's, you know, how hard is it to make a fire? Where to build a fire? You know, do you need, and that's actually a pretty good idea, because it asks you the question, you know, have you researched with the rangers in your area, can you even have a fire? You know, is there a fire ban because it's too dry? You know, all that kind of thing. So, you know, for a millennial that's never been out in the woods before, yeah, you need to research where you're going and know whether you can have a fire or not. I hate that that has to be written down, but obviously it does. Okay, and then it starts with, it defines what tinder is, how to build a fire. Tinder, kindling, fuel, what the different sizes are, and it's really pretty simple. Sticks the size of, you know, size of a toothpick, smaller than a match. Kindling from maybe a pencil to about the size of your thumb. Fuel from your size of your thumb to a log. But it reminds you, don't get fuel that's bigger than how long you're going to be burning your fire. And a couple of ways to construct the fire, the TP and the log cabin style. And then, of course, it talks about tools for lighting a fire. And all of these are obviously their own product from UST, but still, you know, matches lighter and a ferro rod. And it talks about, you know, pluses and minuses for the different kinds of how to do it. Light your fire. Now, obviously, if you're watching this channel, you've been out in the woods, you've done this stuff before. This is really, really basic. But you know, start with your tinder. You know, until you get to keep adding tinder until you can start the kindling on fire. Then start putting on kindling, bigger and bigger kindling until that's going well. Now you start your fuel. So, I mean, it takes it from absolute basics. Fire safety, okay? You know, don't put your tent closer than 30 feet from the fire. Boy, have I seen people abuse that idea. And then extinguishing a fire. How to put it out the right way. And then disposal of the ashes. You know, again, it goes back to what can you do in your area? What are the rules that you have to do in your area? And a lot of people don't think about that. They just go out to the woods and do stuff that maybe their grandfather would have done that's not appropriate in today's environment. So the more I looked at this, the more I thought, okay, it was kind of a goofy little kit. So you've got the tinder, the striker, let's call it tinder and a half, kind of, not really kindling, but something to catch from the tinder. And then your cards. And then this stylish, probably made in China, burlap bag. What I'm going to do though is I'm going to use this as the basis for a fire kit that I make and give to somebody else. Now, by itself, I don't think that's complete. You need to have more than one kind of one method to start the fire. The striker is okay as far as it goes. Add a lighter, and then maybe some emergency matches. So at least 3 different ways. Maybe a Fresnel lens or something like that. But it's the basis of a pretty good fire kit. Again, realizing that a 1/4 inch ferro rod is not going to last you a very long time. And you know, if you're carrying it around, the weight of that wooden handle is probably unnecessary. But still, I don't remember what the price was when it was originally in the when they were selling it for Christmas, because I didn't remember seeing it for Christmas. But the after Christmas, I got it for a couple of bucks, and literally I got it for the price of what these things are. So the rest of the stuff wound up being free. So again, I don't do many gear reviews, you know, by label, by type, but this is the UST, and it's the not a bad kit. Campfire Heritage Campfire Kit. Again, if you've ever made a fire before, these kind of things are not that big a deal to you, but think about who else needs to know. Your kids, your mom, you know, how many people do you know that don't know how to strike a fire with one of these things? So for other people, if you can get that at a decent price wherever you are, in an after Christmas sale or whatever, you know, that's not a bad idea. And other people, other companies make similar things. So I need to pay more attention to these little trendy Christmassy things, and depending on the price, see if I can grab them for gifts for other people, because I've got all this junk already and a lot more. But when it comes to making fire kits for other people, why not use something that's already started? So anyway, that's Cold Warrior 78 saying, get back out in the woods, have a good time. Just for you folks who have never used a Sawyer mini filter, okay, there's a Sawyer mini on that little plastic bag that it comes with. All right, and I don't know if you can see that real well, but that water is just dribbling out of there. Okay, it's not coming out tremendously fast, but it's going to fill that 1 quart cup here really quickly. I've heard people say that Sawyer minis are tough to work with. I don't get that. Literally, this is hanging at the tarp clip. There are little places in here that look like it was designed to punch a hole in it, so that because the bag's actually down here, this is just the edge, so you can hang it. I happen to have that tarp clip hanging around, and as you can see, it's just hanging off the bottom of the tripod that I typically use to hold the camera. And I imagine that that hook is just there for a sandbag to keep everything solid. But it's just dribbling right out there, guys. I hear people fuss about, oh, I have to squeeze it, I have to do this, I have to do that. Give it some time, it'll work on its own. The new ones that are all coming out now have a, let me swing over here nice and easy and show you what I'm talking about. There we are right there. This screws into the end. That comes off, you put it onto a hose. So you can hook it to a bladder. You can hook it to one of those really big platypus rigs, fill that with dirty water, hook this in line, and let it drip. Okay? So really, sorry about that jostling. So it's really, I don't get when people say it's hard. Okay? Water filters are easy. The Sawyer Mini is among the easiest, and based on the specs that I see, it's one of the best. It goes down to 1/10 of a micron. There's damn little below 1/10 of a micron. It's going to hurt you. You know, is it absolutely perfect? No. Is your public water system perfect? Not even close. So anyway, this is Cold Warrior 78 with just a little quick shot of the Sawyer Mini filter doing its job. In fact, that was only about half full, and the cup is half full. There you go. So get a filter. They're not expensive.